Good morning, David. Can you tell us your name and the type of career that you've pursued?
Sure. My name is David Daugherty. I pursued a career in nonprofit organizations. Uh, when I graduated from college, I had been stimulated to take a speech therapy program, and after college, I went to work in a public school area for about 6, 7 years, after which I uh, was attracted to a job in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, traveling around the state to local affiliates of the Pennsylvania Easter Seal Society. Well, with the kind of activities that I had had up to date, I was kind of stimulated to take on new and different responsibilities. So about that time, um, I decided that I wanted to become part of the community too. And early on in my career, I had joined the JC's service community. I was president of the JC chapter in Clearfield, Pennsylvania, where I was working as a speech therapist at the time. After that, I went to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, as I said, traveling for that organization to local affiliates, uh, being kind of an advisor to them for programs and services. I found that I like to travel and I like to be in front of people. During that period, I had joined the Cosmopolitan Club, which is not well known except in that area. I became chairman of the convention committee, unknowingly at the time, because the person who had taken it on decided to move out of state. At any rate, that gave me an opportunity to begin to organize and do some things on a bigger scale. Well, after a few years there, I moved to um, Hartford, Connecticut, where I became president CEO of the Hartford Easter Seal Rehabilitation Center. That was an organization that did both medical rehab and vocational rehabilitation. Well, both of those directions took me to become involved at the national level professionally. And over a short period of time, I had the opportunity to become chairman of the board of the American Rehabilitation Association, which is medical, and an organization called NISH, National Industries for the Severely Handicapped, which is on the vocational side. That organization would enable local affiliates to get federal contracts, kind of a big deal, and it's really huge today. So, given those leadership opportunities, I was able to travel and do things which I really loved. Well, I began my Rotary career. I had forgot to mention one stop in the Detroit, Michigan area, where I was CEO of a very small Easter Seal affiliate. And at that point, I joined the Rotary Club there. And within about a 2 year span, I became vice president. But then I moved to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where I took on the role of president CEO of the Hartford Rehabilitation Center. As I said, Rotary has been a big part of my life in that within a short time, I became president of the Hartford Rotary club that was about 180 members at the time. Um, with that club, my wife and I, Jennifer and I, did a number of traveling to England and to the International Convention, Rotary International Convention in Munich, Germany. Just a lot of opportunities to travel, particularly as it pertained to those two national professional rehab organizations.
So,
Because I was
David,
chairman of the board, uh, I very often went to cities and spent a night or two there and went home. So that's kind of a quick synopsis of much of what I have done.
You have done so much in the nonprofit sector. But it sounds like your training, your official original education was in speech therapy. Is that a bachelor's degree?
Master's and master's work, yes.
Ah, so you completed your master's level as well at the same time, or did you go back, did you go out into the field at all and then come back
I
later in life?
started after the bachelor's and I took graduate work while I was working as a speech therapist.
No, a lot of people would stay, they get in that speech therapist type profession and stay there their whole life. And I'm guessing that that would be a very rewarding career. You chose to um, take that experience and your heart, which was more toward the nonprofit world, and just transition into what turned out to be an incredible professional career for you in all of these different places. It sounds like when you were in Detroit, were you working, was that company a for-profit company, or have you been strictly?
Excuse me, all nonprofit organizations. My
Okay.
whole experience is in the nonprofit sector.
So students who might be watching this who think, yeah, I really love science and I want to help people, but my strengths are, say, in the medical field. Um, you're a perfect example of getting into the field and then really using your heart and drive to affect people in the nonprofit world, right?
Yes, I think the best thing I ever did was learn Robert's Rules of Order.
Ah,
And
good example.
within
That's good.
sometimes like minutes, because I was able to keep people on track or to lead using Robert's rules, I was asked to chair a lot of different community organizations over the time, like the Renaissance Theater in Mansfield, Ohio, um, just any number of, oh, um, a group that I really had no knowledge about, but I chaired it, was the uh, Richland County organization that managed public services and what have you. So it was just a good opportunity using that basic talent to move through. And I've used it to good accord ever since.
Yeah, so I think in America we really instill public service in our youth. I think it's something that our country is very uniquely strong in instilling in the youth. And I think that today there are a lot of young people who really would look at your career and the impact you've had in so many different arenas, so many different industries. Um, give us a little bit more advice for those people that are just so interested in giving back to their community. How can they make a living doing volunteer type work, impacting um, communities that are not as in in the line of sight of normal people, people that are marginalized, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Give them
Oh,
advice because I'm sure there's a
sure.
lot of people like that.
Sure. I think the key thing is that when you're in a leadership role in any organization, you have to be able to be out in the community. I think you have to go beyond the walls of the institution uh, in which you're working and to be able to get to know people. Rotary and the other organizations I was with during those times gave me a wonderful opportunity to find resources, to find board members at a minimum who could bring their talents from a whole different milieu of activities to the organization I was managing. So I think there's a great marriage between the nonprofit sector where I was and the public sector, as exemplified by all of the people I got to know and utilize, hate to use that word, but utilize to make the organization successful. So there's a great marriage between public service and professional service in terms of how one perceives his or her occupation.
Yeah, that's an excellent answer. How about income? Can you really earn a livable wage or income in this nonprofit world?
Yes, I did reasonably well. I didn't make $1 million a week or anything, but yeah, my wife and I and my family were comfortable. Uh, no, nothing too extreme or anything, but I did what I wanted to do. And it's always nice to have a wife, though, a spouse who's a nurse, and that helps with the family income and the family
That's
stability,
true.
and someone to kind of keep a person like me who likes to get out and about, keep us on the straight and narrow.
Yes, it sounds like you followed your dream. Why did you want so badly to be a speech therapist? What was
I
the
didn't. I was a
Oh,
dumb
really?
kid. I was a dumb kid growing up. I was
I don't believe it.
kind of wild, if you will. And when I
No.
went to college, I didn't know why I was there. But the speech therapy program started during my junior year in college. And
Okay.
suddenly I took fire and I did exceedingly well from that point on. Of course, I forgot to mention a little stint in the Army as a reservist right after high school uh, added a lot to my knowledge of the world and how to maintain that kind of decorum.
Yes, and I think you mature a little when you're away from home for the first time, no matter what the circumstance. Well,
Right.
so what was your original major in college?
I think English and speech.
You think? You don't even remember?
Yeah, that's
That's
what it
funny.
was.
I do think college is a wonderful place to take classes that are just randomly of interest to you, and you can literally find your heart in a class that you would have never suspected. Sounds like that might have happened.
That's exactly what happened to me. I was uh, I'm their kind of guy until I got that program, and I began to see that helping people. Mostly I worked with kids, but also adults, and being able to help a family. You're not just helping the child when you provide those kinds of services. You're really working with the family and to help them deal with a lot of issues. Sometimes they're beyond the speech part of it or the understanding part of it. So yeah, it was a good career just in terms of being able to affect someone's life, a family's life, and be satisfied that, well, maybe you spent a good time there.
Yes, well, you started helping one individual and then impacting their family at a time to managing very large, very impactful nonprofits that affected the
Yeah.
country as a whole. And that is pretty cool.
What you just said is how I have analyzed it before. I used to be on the floor working with a 6-year-old kid to saying, hey, I can do that. But if I do something else with the organizations with which I became involved, I could do that same thing, not on the floor, but working with the organization and other staff members to create that same environment. So there's some satisfaction in all of that, believe me.
Wow, you have been a wonderful member of not only our club, but have contributed at that very high level in Rotary as well. And we're just so pleased to have you part of the Pathways Rotary Club. Um, if someone should see this video and just cannot stand themselves but wants to contact you, would you be willing to communicate with them through our website?
Certainly.
We appreciate your time and your heart and all of the things you've done and will continue to do for Pathways. Thank you so much, David, for taking your time out today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It was great. Thank you.